And this information has Candace 99% certain that the feds have been involved. The autopsy did happen. Candace already confirmed that even before her meeting with Erika. On Candace's episode, she never talked about the Doge and the taxes, but apparently Erika provided her with tax information. Candace was like, I'm not an accountant. We are sifting through all of my notes, and it sounds like she's going to be talking about something new every episode based on what her and Erika talked about. Candace reminded viewers that she hasn't told the public everything she knows because she has to play chess right now. She also said the feds were definitely at the hospital when Charlie Kirk passed. They were there very early, and again, she's not convinced by anything. Overall, I thought there was a lot of meat and potatoes in this live. I actually think it covered a lot of the things that some of you are in my comment section about, asking, why didn't she cover this? I think her and Erika talked for 4.5 hours. There was a lot to cover. I think every episode that Candace is probably going to have this week is going to cover some portion of her conversation with Erika.
I don't feel that I got they were not, I guess what's the word? They're agnostic. There wasn't a oh, whoa, that's really weird. And there wasn't a actually, I shouldn't say there wasn't a chance to shut it down. What they did was they brought Brian Harpole's his travel logs from Tokyo, because remember initially when I did the episode I was like, oh, they couldn't have made it back in time for this meeting. I was actually wrong about that because I was forgetting how much time you gain back when you fly back from Tokyo. I think we figured out through this series I'm not the best at time zones. Anyway, so they had his travel stuff. And I have his travel stuff, which is why I said we'll get back into the Camp Huachuca thing later. And by no means.
Candace just went live after her episode to do an Ask Me Anything, and she is talking about her relationship with Erika Kirk. I didn't catch the entire live, but one of the questions was, do you trust Erika Kirk? She said she doesn't trust anybody, Turning Point USA or Erika Kirk, until more information comes out about what happened to Charlie. I thought that was very telling, and I think people were waiting for her to talk about that on her episode. She also went on to say she was never close friends with Erika Kirk, that they were always very cordial and supportive of each other's relationships. She said at one point in her discussion with Erika said that she works and that is how she copes with her feelings. After speaking with Erika and their lawyer, she feels even more certain that Tyler Robinson was not the shooter. Then people asked Candace about the Romanian ties with Erika, that whole theory that's going on TikTok. I've heard about it and I haven't discussed it myself. Candace said she has heard about it. She hasn't even talked about it on her show yet, but she really didn't have too much to say about it. Candace also shared that Erika really broke down about her own mother, and she got very emotional and she really started crying. And Candace made it sound like that was really the first time she saw Erika show that type of emotion, and it was really for Erika's mother. She also basically felt like Erika and Turning Point have been treating the public like they're stupid, and she kind of expressed that to them. Somebody asked, did you shock Erika with anything that you knew? And Candace shared that yes, she did. Without revealing the source, there is somebody at Turning Point USA who shared information with Candace.
Is it shut down? This is a very strong lead, and I do sense that there was major panic about this meeting. The attacks leveled up, and that's saying a lot because they've been attacking me nonstop. So when they gave me Brian Harpole's thing, I looked at it, I was like, oh, this doesn't debunk anything. He could have definitively made it, because I explained to them that Brian Harpole, that person who is certain that he saw Brian Harpole, he says, and we're going to have him on the show hopefully tomorrow, he says that he saw Brian Harpole, and that was around 7:47 a.m. So he's unaccounted for during those times. What I can tell you is, and I'll show you this tomorrow, Brian Harpole got back from Tokyo into Dallas early in the morning on September 8th. So that's a full day. He could have been at Camp Huachuca on the 8th. But Brian Harpole, by the way, is calling around, telling people he's going to sue me or something, which is weird because he hasn't even sent a cease and desist. He's talking to Tim Pool apparently and saying weird stuff, and got a message out to somebody else and was trying to seed. Basically, I feel like Brian Harpole is scared of us investigating Huachuca, and so he's intentionally signaling to people in the public that he's going to sue me. And when people, as a strategy, don't just hit you up and say, hey, you got something wrong, here's so you can correct it, but then go the route of legal threats, they have something to hide. It's very simple to just shut something down with the truth and say, hey, I saw this, you got mixed up. He's trying to scare me with lawsuits. So I feel like Camp Huachuca is the undoing of everything, okay? tomorrow's episode is going to be very interesting. And that's all I can say, like, for right now, because we had to put the pieces together and trying to figure out who was there at that meeting. But Baron Coleman's episode really helped build upon the fact that someone very important from DC was at that meeting. And he verified, in case you didn't see it, that this was a high-level meeting. I have people on the base who verified that the windows were blacked out. It was turned into an intelligence operation. Also, that in general, Camp Huachuca is an intelligence base. He stumbled upon this meeting, and it could literally solve the entire Charlie Kirk case. That's why I said I need to focus my energy on that, because I feel like part of this creating this like war with Erika and people saying this, that, you know, I was beating employees at Daily Wire, and them even releasing like the firing tape. I didn't even discuss this today. The firing tape of Jeremy Boring on stage, firing me and calling me a semi. It feels like they're trying to distract me because it's the last week of the podcast. And I feel like I have to focus on this. Like I feel like we could solve it. So if we get any detail about the Camp Huachuca base. So I don't know. That's where I'm at right now. I won't answer any questions. Like I said, I'm not convinced by anything. So I'm sorry if you are upset that I took the only opportunity that I was given to sit down and try to get answers, and did my best to kind of deliver to you like the high level, low level. I do think it's good that we have communication with Turning Point USA. I think that's a good thing, because it allows us to, when we find a lie, to instantly have me message Justin and say, hey, you said this or he said that, what's the deal? Like, otherwise we're just going, okay, we don't know why they lied. So I don't know. I feel like that I did the right thing on that, like trying to like facilitate a conversation, and I am 1000% open to still having that conversation public. Maybe now she feels comfortable to do it publicly because she did it privately, you know. Anyways, I guess that's kind of, we'll end it for today, and we will. This person says, why hasn't Erika protected you regarding the FBI? Oh, that didn't even come up. Honestly, I didn't even think to ask her about, like, oh, could you reach out to the FBI for me? Because that's not how it's supposed to work. I pay taxes. The FBI should answer because I reached out to the FBI. And I think it's obvious. It's because I think they're involved. And I think Kash Patel is petty. And that's the reason why they're doing absolutely nothing about me saying that I have information pertaining to foreigners being on the ground that day. They're just not interested at all. Somebody said, did they threaten you? I was absolutely not threatened. Am I safe? Who knows? I mean, I'm fighting like 6 countries, one of them being the demonic entity that is Israel. Probably not, but it is what it is. This person said, do you think Charlie would still want you to apply pressure? Yeah, I do. I do think Charlie would still want me to apply pressure. And figure out what's happening, and that's why I'm doing it. Did you clarify anything surrounding whether or not an autopsy occurred? I already told you guys for a fact an autopsy did happen, so I didn't have that on my list of questions because I had already confirmed that. Was yesterday your first time speaking with Erika since 9/10? Yes, it was. Will TPUSA own up to the lies as much as you did? Will they defend you publicly? That's actually a good question. It was a private conversation. It would actually be great for them to then have it on the show and to own that they lied. That would be good, to exercise some humility, because I feel like I've been public enemy number 1, and all I ever did was tell everybody the truth from day one. Does Erika think Tyler killed Charlie? Yes, I think she's already said that on multiple interviews. Was there discussion around UVU remodeling the crime scene? No, I forgot to ask that question, so that was my bad. Did they address the issues? Also, because I don't know that I should have thought about that, but I feel like that's more like a Fed question, and I was trying to focus on like Turning Point USA questions. Did they address the issues with the finances and taxes? They brought an entire tax document thing for me to look through. I'm not an accountant, which is why I haven't spent much time talking about their finances other than the Doge thing, which I was like, that was a weird lie. I don't understand like why Tyler would say that that's like something that he had always done. And they owned that was not something that they had always done. So again, this is the stuff why I feel like we could have benefited from doing a public like live stream, because they did own a lot of the stuff, and it, like you said, it has not been owned in a public capacity. This person says, was Erika surprised by anything that she wasn't before? I would say, yeah, she was very surprised on one thing that I kind of surprised them with that I hadn't said publicly. And I explained to them that it was a very big reason why I am convinced that someone at Turning Point knows more about Charlie's death. I think they were very shocked by that when I told them what that thing was, which was like basically that somebody inside of Turning Point told me that. I'm not naming names, but somebody inside of Turning Point told me that Turning Point was involved. And they were kind of jaws on the floor about that. And were like, okay. And I was like, look, I haven't put that information out in the public yet because I am aware of what the ripple effect of that will be. And I also, it could very well be, obviously, in terms of conspiracy, do we think 650 employees of Turning Point USA are in on it? No. But I think it helped them see that I was being compelled by what I'm being told. And I have not told the public every single detail of everything that I've been told because I am playing a game of chess. I need to figure out, to separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. And I think we've done a pretty good job of doing that. So there is that as well. I'm going to do a few more questions here. Darn, I accidentally scrolled to the top here. You guys asked a few times, who do you think? Did you find it strange that Erika has Charlie's phone during this investigation? I find it strange the FBI didn't take his phone. But then I think about it and I'm like, actually, it's not strange because I think the FBI is in on it. So it's like, yeah, I know they did some weird stuff, starting with in the hospital. I know the feds were there. I've never said that until just now. The feds were at the hospital way too early, in my opinion, and they did some weird stuff. I don't know what to say other than that, right? I could say more, but I'm just kind of trying to wait and process a few more things. This person says, okay, sorry, I'm scrolling just because I realized yes, we asked about the Doge audit. I thought I said something about that on the show today. Why do you trust the call logs? They could have been fabricated. You're absolutely right. They could have been fabricated. But if they fabricated them, to whose benefit? It actually made it seem like everybody lied. So, of course, they were, in fact, edited. It wasn't the full call log, uninterrupted, printed from the website because they wanted to just show me the relevant portions. But that's all we had. I would prefer to sit down with Mikey and for Mikey to show me his call logs in person. I'm open to that. If I ever get an opportunity to go on their show, I would just be like, can you show me the phone so I have the confidence? I can only tell you guys what I was told, This person says, I told you about the Egyptian planes. You'll have so much more on that tomorrow, so I'm going to skip that. Who styles your hair? Mia, who came with me for the vibes, my cousin, A1 since day one. She can't stand me, but she's always with me. Do you believe that Erika Kirk is skeptical of Kash Patel? That's a good question. I feel that, and this is not coming from the private meeting, this is coming from just public messaging, that they have been trusting of Kash Patel. That they have been, in communication with him is what I've been told. They've been in communication with him. I find that to be weird because I think Kash Patel is completely and utterly full of shit. So if she is skeptical, it was not communicated to me. And I didn't ask that question specifically. Is Erika interested in the story of the witness that called you the military meeting that he saw in the military base? I think that's an interesting question.